Campos was still in the control room when the calls started coming in from Havana. Not about the power, about the water. Havana's water pumps run on electricity. No power, no pressure. Within 2 hours of the grid going down, the faucets in most of the city ran dry. 6 to 8 gallons. That's what's sitting in your pipes right now. That's your entire supply for an outage the government is about to tell you will last 72 hours. It lasted 11 days. By nightfall, the calls Campos was getting from Havana had changed. People weren't asking when the power would come back. They were asking about water. In Santos Suarez, a neighborhood in South Havana, residents had started building barricades in the streets. Not over the darkness, over thirst. The government's response was immediate. Cut the internet, deploy police, stop the footage from spreading. What they could not stop was the reality of what happens when a city of 2 million people runs out of water. And that's when the second wave hit. Not thirst this time, hunger. Your refrigerator becomes a problem 4 hours after the power goes out. The FDA has a number for this, buried in technical documents, not in emergency alerts. 104 degrees Fahrenheit is the line. Above that, bacteria doubles every 20 minutes. Most people in Havana didn't know that. They kept their refrigerators closed, assuming the power would come back in a few hours. By the time the government said 72 hours, most of their food was already gone. Back at Guiteras, Campos and his team worked through the night. No sleep, no updates to the public. Just engineers, in the dark, trying to restart a machine that had already told them, many times, it was dying. Here's the part that stays with you. Campos had said it publicly, on video. He looked directly at the camera and said, "A problem cannot wait. It cannot wait. It is a matter of security." He knew. His team knew. The plant was restarted. And 3 months later, December 4th, 2024, 2 a.m., Guiteras failed again. Another nationwide blackout. The government said, back online by Thursday. Then September 2025, gone again. November 2025, gone again. March 16th, 2026, 12:41 p.m., gone again. 6 collapses, 18 months. Each time the same promise. Each time the same silence after. By January 2026, Cuba's oil imports had dropped to zero. First time since 2015. The country needs 3 to 4 oil tankers every week to keep its plants running. In the first quarter of 2026, 2 arrived. One from Mexico in January, one from Jamaica in March. 2 tankers for 10 million people. The math is simple. The math is brutal. And here's where Cuba stops being a story about Cuba. The U.S. Northeast Interconnection, the grid that powers 70 million Americans, was designed in the 1960s. Same architecture, same centralized plants, same single points of failure. The 2003 Northeast Blackout, 1 software bug, 1 utility in Ohio, 55 million people across 8 states, dark, 4 days. NERC, the agency that monitors the American grid, has a document. It's not classified. You can find it. They call it the high-impact, low-frequency event. Cascading failure across multiple regions. Estimated affected population, 130 to 300 million Americans. Estimated recovery time, weeks to months. That report exists. They just don't put it in the press release. If this is the kind of thing you want to know before everyone else, you know where to find the next one. 6:47 a.m., Matanzas Bay. Rubén Campos walked into the control room, same as every morning, same instruments, same readings. The boiler pressure was wrong. The valves were wrong. The numbers were wrong. Same as yesterday, same as last week. He sat down and made the same call he always made. Keep it running. He wasn't reckless. He wasn't naive. Cuba's grid had 8 major plants. Together, they were supposed to generate 3,000 megawatts. On a good day, less than 2,000. Cuba needed 3,500. Guiteras alone was 330 megawatts. If it went down, the math didn't just get harder, the math stopped working. So you keep it running. You always keep it running, even when the instruments are telling you not to. October 18th, 2024, 11 a.m. Guiteras went offline. Not slowly, not with warning. The plant tripped, the frequency dropped, and automatic disconnections fired through Cuba's grid like dominoes, province by province, substation by substation. By noon, 10 million people had no power. By 3 p.m., they had no water. Campos was still at the plant when the protests started in Havana. Here's what nobody said out loud that morning. This wasn't the first time, it was the fourth. Here's what Campos understood, and what nobody wanted to say publicly. The grid doesn't fail because of a single bad day. It fails because of 1,000 small decisions to keep something running that should have stopped. Deferred maintenance, delayed inspections, parts that couldn't be ordered because of sanctions, because of money, because of politics. And every time it held, just barely, it felt like proof it could hold again, until it couldn't. The question isn't whether Cuba's grid will collapse again, it will. The question, the one that doesn't have a clean answer, is what you do in the window before the math stops working for you. Not for Cuba, for you. When your faucet runs dry, you have 45 minutes of residual pressure to fill everything you own. Bathtubs, pots, every container in the house. After 45 minutes, that window is gone. When your refrigerator hits 4 hours without power, your food is becoming a problem, whether you open the door or not. When your cell signal drops, the towers have 2 to 4 hours of battery backup. After that, you are the only information source you have. These aren't Cuban problems, they are physics. Drop 72H in the comments. I'll reply with the full framework, what to do in hour 1, hour 6, and hour 24 of any grid down event. New scenario drops Tuesday. Don't miss the window. When the world breaks, who survives?